Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey. If you like today's show, please click like and subscribe, and please consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. And remember, no matter how good it is or how much it costs, it's just whiskey, folks. Today we're going to be talking about Lagavulin. And I have a lot to say, in my opinion, about Lagavulin. But let me first reflect a little bit on my experience with a lot of YouTubers. One of my pet peeves is when I hear a lot people describe a spiciness in a scotch with cinnamon and nutmeg. And if you watch one of my previous shows all about smell and taste, I talked about that. And although they're both spices, they're very different. And most people are very familiar with cinnamon, but nutmeg is a totally different spice that comes from a nut of an evergreen tree. And it smells and tastes like evergreen, like pine tar, like turpentine. So when I hear people combine it in one sentence of nutmeg and cinnamon or cinnamon and nutmeg, I cannot recall anybody ever saying when they say cinnamon and nutmeg that the scotch has a pine tar taste to it or a turpentine taste to it, or an evergreen taste to it. But it's so widely said, it becomes an accepted phrase that gets passed on to the next YouTuber and the next YouTuber. And it just seems like it's one of those widely things that are just said and accepted, cinnamon and nutmeg. Another thing that I hear a lot is everyone talks about Lagavulin 16, and it gets high praise. But it's just like an automatic thing that I hear a lot. People say, "Oh yeah, Lagavulin 16. It's great value, great, outstanding. Go to just a great Scotch." And Lagavulin 16 very well may be that to a lot of people. For me, the Lagavulin 16. I wasn't the biggest fan, and we're going to go into that a little bit later. And then another thing I hear a lot too is maritime malt and the saltiness, and I get that, but it's another thing that I hear that's overused, and some of these maritime malts, and the saltiness and the brininess. Sometimes I can pick up hints of it, but sometimes I can't. But I hear it widely used, and you'll see with my shows, I try to stick with the more prominent notes that I recognize, not that I hear reverberated time and time again. Okay, so I heard so much about Lagavulin 16 a while back that a couple of years ago, I obviously bought a bottle, and although I could appreciate its quality, I love the jalapeno pepper. It's one of my favorite peppers. But for Lagavulin 16, it had that jalapeno note to it that I didn't find appealing for my taste. And so then I went to the next step and I tried the Lagavulin 16 Distiller's Edition. So the Lagavulin 16 retails for about $85. The Distiller's Edition retails for about $110. And I drank that whole bottle also over time. But it didn't rock my world. It didn't float my boat. Again, I could appreciate the quality, but it didn't fit. It didn't suit my palate. But I didn't give up. So then I tried the Lagavulin 12, 2019 cask strength, which that's quite a bit pricey. And I believe the 2019 was not released in the United States, but I did get some from overseas, shipped here. And I really enjoyed that Lagavulin 12. I have not tried any other Lagavulin 12 cask strengths, but I'm sure there'll probably be more in my wheelhouse. Okay, so then that brings us to the Lagavulin 8-year-old versus the Lagavulin 9 Game of Thrones. Nowhere in these bottles does it say anything about chill filtration or coloring. So we, in being a Diageo product, we'll have to assume that it is chill filtered. As far as coloring goes, I would say, yes, I know Diageo likes to color a lot of this stuff. And this 9-year-old certainly looks to me like it probably has some coloring in it. However, the Lagavulin 8, it doesn't look like it has any coloring to me at all. So I found that interesting that you would think that they would maybe label that. But anyway, they didn't. So we'll just have to, for sake of argument, assume that most all Lagavulins are chill filtered and probably colored, but maybe not the 8. And the Lagavulin 12, I don't think that's chill filtered, and I don't think, because it's a cask strength, I don't think that's chill filtered or colored. So the Lagavulin 8-year-old comes in at 48%, and the Lagavulin 9 Game of Thrones comes in at 46%. Okay, so the nose on the 8, clean and soft peat and fruity, candied fruits. You definitely pick up that it's peated, smoky. Very nice on the palate. It's got that medicinal note. It's sweet on the nose, but dry on the finish. And I would say it has a sharp bite, a little nippiness on the tongue from the youth. Again, the smoke is there. And I would say it has a medium to medium long dry finish. Excuse me. All right. Now the Lagavulin 9. These have both been open for about 20, 30 minutes. And at first, for the first 5-10 minutes, this Lagavulin 9 really had a sharp acetone note to it. Very sharp. But now it's calmed down, and it's more definitely the vanilla, big time. So the nose, that the acetone is kind of wore off a little bit. However, I did not notice any acetone at all with the 8. So on the nose, again, more vanilla now. On the palate, and I mentioned this in the previous review when I talked about the Amrut. This is only the second time I'm picking up a little hemp or cannabis from me on the taste, on the palate. Definitely the medicinal notes there, Band-Aids, a little bit of mint. This one has more of a pronounced oak bite to it. The finish, medium long, and this one has a little more stickiness to it, I would say. So comparing the two, the Lagavulin 8 on the nose and on the taste, I prefer over the 9 all day long. And this Lagavulin 8 reminds me of the Lagavulin 12, and it also reminds me of the Compass Box Peat Monster. It also reminds me a little bit of Kalila, which I like a lot. So out of all the Lagavulins that I've tried so far, I would say the Lagavulin 12 cast strength 2019, that's the only one I've had, 2019. I really like that. But this Lagavulin 8 in comparison is what I would gravitate towards. Price-wise, the Lagavulin 8 you can pick up $40, $45. So it's reasonably priced, in my opinion, for the quality that you get. This Lagavulin 9 Game of Thrones, the price is all over the place. Right now, it seems to be anywhere like $60 to $80 range, probably closer to the $80 range. However, online in Florida, I've seen it for as low as like $40. But in my area, it's closer to the $60 to $70 range, closer maybe even $80 range around here. Probably closer to 80 around here. So that really sums it up. The Lagavulin 9 Game of Thrones reminds me more of the Lagavulin 16. I'm not picking up really the jalapeno on this, but that's the direction that's heading in. What would I rate these? Clearly, I would definitely buy the Lagavulin 8 again. I would not buy the Lagavulin 16 again, nor the Distiller's Edition, nor the Game of Thrones. That's just me. Score-wise, I would give this Lagavulin 8, I would say 85 to 87, somewhere in that range. And the Lagavulin 9, more like 83 to 85 range, somewhere in that ballpark, if that helps you. So thank you so much for watching today's show, and please click like and please subscribe. Could really use more support, and please consider becoming a Patreon. And remember, no matter how good it is or how much it costs, it's just whiskey, folks. So hats off to you all, and take care.